So I have no idea for kind of recapitulating some of the places I've been to and my thoughts on them. I think for each region I go to, I'm going to do a buy, sell, hold video where I talk about my favorite places in the area, my least favorite, and those kind of in between. So I'm going to start with the Great Lakes region. I'm going to make one for the Dakotas in a little while. Granted, when I talk about each region, I'm not talking about the region as a whole because I haven't been to everywhere in that region, but just the places that I visited. I'll start with buy, and my first buy is Chicago. I absolutely love that city. The architecture is second to none of all the major cities in the US, I think. It's got a great downtown area, but it also has awesome suburban places too. I loved going up to Evanston, seeing Northwestern University, and then down to Hyde Park, seeing University of Chicago, the Robie House, and the areas around there. Next by is Michigan 119, which is this road in northern Michigan that goes from Petoskey up north along Lake Michigan. It was a beautiful drive, just through some woods along this cliff overlooking Lake Michigan. Love the drive, and if I could live anywhere that I've been on the trip so far, it would be in a house along that road. The next by is Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. That's in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, like west of Whitefish Bay, along Lake Superior. It was beautiful, just beautiful hardwood forest up there. And then as you get closer to the lake, you run into some sand dunes. Obviously, at the lakefront, and it's kind of pebbly and beachy. I was only there for a short time. I just did a quick little 3-mile, 4-mile trail run, something like that. But I got to see a lot while I was there, and I loved the drive coming out of it through those hardwood forests into Wisconsin. And the last two buys are two towns in Minnesota. The first being Duluth, which is on the edge of Lake Superior, the westernmost Atlantic seaport. It's not like there's anything super compelling in and of itself about Duluth. I just felt like it was really authentic, built into the hillside. I just had like a comfortable flavor. It wasn't like posh or anything, but it also wasn't run down. It just kind of was what it was, and it didn't try to be anything else. I don't know if you can really say that about a town, but that's the way it felt to me. And last is Ely, Minnesota. That was the town right on the edge of the Boundary Waters, kind of the main access point for the Boundary Waters. It was an old mining town, and it had definitely transitioned to a more tourism-focused economy, but it kind of retained that rustic feel, that old mining town vibe that it had during the peak of its former glory. I ended up having a lot of time to kill there after I got out of the Boundary Waters, and so I went and had breakfast, like brunch in a cafe, and then went to a coffee shop and read my book for a little bit, and it was just very slow paced. Like the people were super nice. I loved like the old original Ace Hardware that wasn't probably hadn't changed in 50 years. For hold, I'm going to start with 3 cities: Cleveland, Detroit, and Minneapolis. Wasn't enamored with any of them. Kind of had like lower expectations for Detroit and Cleveland, and higher expectations for Minneapolis than what I actually saw. Definitely kind of working man's towns, not like a whole lot going on outside of that. Minneapolis did have some art museums and sculpture garden and other stuff around there, but on the whole, I just didn't feel like they had like the richness or the cultural variety of a city like New York or San Francisco. That said, I really like the kind of post-industrial flavor of some of them, and they are making comebacks. It was cool to see like Detroit after the Tigers game had just finished up, and in the main downtown area with everyone pouring out of the stadium and going into the bars and everything like that. So there are definitely redeeming qualities about all of them. I just wasn't enamored with any. Also on the hold list are the towns Petoskey, Charlevoix, and Traverse City. All of them along Lake Michigan in the Lower Peninsula, which is sad because those are the towns that Hemingway writes so lovingly about in his short stories and in The Torrents of Spring. But I don't feel like they are where they used to be. It just felt like it attracted a lot of tourists that weren't interested in much beyond boating, fudge, and some kind of dumb souvenirs. Even still, because they were higher end, they tend to have some really nice restaurants, cool coffee shops, beautiful marinas, things like that. Also, hold was the Boundary Waters. To be fair, I didn't really get to experience it as it should be experienced, which is by canoeing. I just done a little backpacking trip that was less than 24 hours. So I didn't get the full experience of the Boundary Waters, but at the same time, I didn't think that it was all that beautiful, and it was really buggy. I got eaten alive by mosquitoes. Topping the sell list are Mackinac City and St. Ignace, which are the two towns that are at either end of the Mackinac Straits that connect or separate the upper and lower peninsula of Michigan. Yeah, just really cheesy, like kind of strip areas that were obviously just tourist hotspots. Mackinac Island might have been cooler had I gone there, but most of those two towns are just jumping off spots for getting to Mackinac Island, and I wasn't impressed by the downtown areas in either of those. Next on the sell list is Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore. I really didn't get that at all. Yeah, the hike was kind of weird. It wasn't super well maintained. It wasn't that pretty. There was like one beach area that was part of the state park, but it was absolutely packed. And obviously because it's a lake, there's like no waves, and it was just kind of sad compared to actual beaches on, the west or east coast. So I would not recommend.